my friends. So today we're going to talk Swiss ball. You have probably seen these in the gym, rolling around on their own, covered in dust, somewhat underinflated, a little bit soft and saggy. There occasionally you do see the odd, literally the odd person using them. Super versatile though, and you can take very simple, boring exercises, make them a lot more exciting when you incorporate a Swiss ball, which ramps up the neurological stimulation going on because you've got to balance and all those good things. Although, as you can see, the ball is very stable on its own. It's only when you introduce an idiot to it that it becomes wild and uncontrollable. So let's familiarize yourself with the Swiss ball and simple things that you can do in the gym that will actually increase your bang for buck from your exercises. So the first thing is, make friends with it. Hello. Make sure it's clean. It's obviously it's rubber, so it will attract a little bit of dirt. So make sure the ball is relatively clean, no sort of sharp objects to it, etc. The area that you're working on, make sure that is relatively clean as well. So there's nothing sharp in there. Most balls in gyms will be anti-burst, so even if they do get stabbed with a sharp corner or an object, they won't pop. They'll deflate, they won't pop. But at the same time, you don't want it popping on you, do you? So find the ball, take a seat on it. Okay, so how do you know which size is right for you? So when you're sat on the ball, the thigh should be just above a parallel position, a horizontal position. So you should feel like the hip is just slightly higher than the knee. You can be dead level, so the thigh can be completely horizontal, but sort of just above would be ideal. So obviously if you're super tall, you need a bigger ball. It's fairly straightforward. One of the first things just to get used to is a postural exercise. So with the use of, say, a dowel rod, ta-da, what you can do, take the rod, hold it in the small of your back, so the fist now is making contact in the small of the back. The pole is then making contact at the sacrum, between the shoulder blades, and now bring the head into contact as well. So there's not a huge gap in my lumbar spine, there's just enough. My hand just fits in there. My knuckles just fit in that gap. Rib cage is lifted a little bit, head is contact. So there's 3 contact points: sacrum, shoulder blades, back of the head. If you, if your posture is really poor, and in order to get to the stick with your head, you've got to crane your neck. Don't do that. Keep your head in neutral and just try and work your way towards it. Okay. Hold this position and then move out of it. Completely relax. You're trying to train yourself into new positions, so just get used to this idea. Hold the stick, in you go. And this in itself is the first exercise, a seated posture trainer. If you're someone who suffers with a heavily rolled forward shoulders, you might find that this position actually on your arm is a little bit uncomfortable. Actually just having it behind you and holding the stick. So just gently, alternate with your hands. Get used to the hands being in this position. So don't rely on one hand to be stuck back there. So seated posture trainer. You're looking to build up your time in tension, so the time in good posture. But you want to work within a comfortable parameter. So to begin with, 10 seconds, and then come out of the position for like 5 seconds. So generally when you come out of position, it's half the work time. So 10 seconds on, 5 seconds off. Do that for 6 reps so that you cover a minute, and then just build that up. So build to 20 seconds. 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. Build it up. Build it up until you're good, just holding good posture. So once you're set, you're addressed, you know where good posture is. Now just hold that position, right? So now you've taught yourself how to sit in the correct posture. Now you can start doing other things whilst holding good posture. So now you could do a set let's say on a bicep curl. Nice and straightforward. There's a little bit of instability from the ball now because if you're holding weights, then your center of gravity is going to move around a little bit. But the challenge is now we're training posture because you're now holding good posture whilst you do so you'll have your weights ready, set your posture up, so what we call your address position. So set the address position, grab the weights, so you're reminding yourself of the good posture, but you've trained yourself to sit in this position for long enough now, so you should move into it a little bit more comfortably. So pick up the weights, find that good address. Now you start doing your bicep curls or whatever. There's going to be a little bit of instability because of the extra weight that you're holding and moving, so it's going to move around a little bit. So your body's already feeling a little bit more is happening just because of the simple exercise of moving the weight on a relatively unstable basis. Better than, say, sitting on a resistant, on a bench, because that bench isn't moving anywhere unless it's really poorly made and it's starting to fall apart. So there's a real simple way, to start incorporating the Swiss ball, ramping up the neurological stimulation from any given exercise, and even really simple exercises like a bicep curl. So next, we'll talk about how to continue that progression. All right, so continuing progressions for just simple exercise like sitting on the ball. So once you're comfortable with where good posture is, okay, then what we can look to do is reduce the base of support. So if you're sat on the ball and your feet are in a comfortable, say, shoulder width, hip width position, you've effectively got 3 points of contact to the earth, the ball and your feet. So your feet are obviously very stable and the ball is less stable, okay. So if we reduce the base of support in order to make the exercise harder, we bring the feet closer together. So now, as you can imagine, the chances of, not falling over, but needing minor adjustments from the body is much higher. So you've got the system has to stabilize more in this position, right? So if I'm lifting a dumbbell with one arm, now I'm going to have to counterbalance that. You'll feel probably a little bit of wobble happening. And those deep stabilizing muscles are now having to, try and combat the instability that we're challenging the system with. So once you've gone feet nice and close together, well, then we can look at taking 1 foot off the ground. You can immediately see he's having to do a bit more work here, okay? So we've now only got 2 points of contact. So the relatively unstable one that I'm sitting on, and then the stable one, but now we're only down to 1 point of contact to the ground. So this one is now having to work a lot harder. This is great for rehabbing like knee injuries, ankle injuries, any kind of instability. If you've got a dropped arch in your foot, if you've got a bit of a flat foot, bit of a weak foot, this is a great way to just stimulate those deep stabilizing muscles. So again, we're trying to hold good posture whilst we raise one leg. So this is an advancement or a progression. So again, I would try and build the time and tension. And I'm looking for form. So as soon as my form really drops, if I've got to put my foot down because of a balance issue, then I take a little breather. If I'm sitting in this position with the leg up, but I lose my posture, then again, we take a break. So you've got to keep an eye on the time. If you've got a stopwatch, fantastic, because that's much better. You might find that one side is weaker or stronger than the other. And it's all about trying to build the body up symmetrically. So if you notice that one side you have no problems whatsoever, but as soon as you go to the other side, you just literally can't get your leg off the ground. Obviously, that's the side that needs a lot of work to get to the same standard as the good side. So don't do lots and lots of time under tension or repetitions on the good side, because that side will just get stronger and better, whilst the weak side actually doesn't kind of catch up. So you want the weaker side to catch up. So that's a real simple progression for any kind of seated exercise on the Swiss ball. Have a little play around with this. I would do these kind of balance and proprioceptive exercises towards the front half of your workout rather than towards the end, just because the body's nice and fresh. You do a little bit of a warm-up, whatever you might be doing, but the body itself is nice and fresh. It's not tired or fatigued. So grab the Swiss ball out from the gym, hunt for the thing, make sure it's firm. It should be pretty firm to use as a piece of exercise equipment. If not, get a member of staff to pump that thing up. And yeah, just start using it. It's much better than a bench. If you're doing any kind of seated exercises with free weights or with cables, use a Swiss ball. It's gonna ramp up the neurological stimulation, because you've got to move. And because it allows for some movement as well, actually you tend to get a more natural movement rather than in a fixed seated position. So grab out the Swiss ball, start inspiring others to use a Swiss ball. Monkey see, monkey do. When they figure out that what you can use these things for, happy days. So until next time, don't be afraid to use Swiss balls. Don't be afraid to look a little ridiculous as you walk them across the gym floor. And enjoy the noises that come from rolling around on a rubber ball on generally rubber flooring. Yeah.